Please be advised the following content contains themes and subject matter that may be unsettling, intense, or unsuitable for some viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Hello, hello, hello. So today I would like to discuss the Anna Kepner case. I really wasn't paying too much attention to it. I've been hearing about it throughout the months. For those of you that don't know, Anna Kepner is an 18-year-old girl. She was on a family vacation on a cruise ship. The entire family was there. Mother, our father, stepmother, brother, half brother, stepbrother, aunts, uncles, grandparents. It was an entire family vacation cruise. And let me pull this up here. On November 6th of 2025, after dinner, she wasn't feeling well. So she went back to her cabin, and then at some point she went and visited her grandmother in the casino. Now, the way it was set up, the father and the stepmother had a cabin across the hall. Anna and her half-brother and stepbrother shared a cabin on the other side of the hallway. So she had left. She wasn't feeling well, and then at some point visited her grandmother in the casino. The younger half-brother, I guess, stayed around on the deck taking pictures and hanging out with the parents for a little while. Now, when he went back to the room that night to go to bed, the half-brother was about 14 years old. Nobody was in the room yet. So he went to sleep. However, somewhere between her visiting her grandmother in the casino and the half-brother going back to the room to go to sleep, apparently she had met up with her. Now, this is all alleged. The stepbrother, who was 16, apparently they had a run-in in the room. Now, here's the shame of it. So they get up the next morning, the half-brother and the stepbrother, and Anna's nowhere to be found. She was later found wrapped up in a blanket, unalived, wrapped up in a blanket, stuffed under one of the beds. And they do believe that the younger brother, she was probably already passed and hidden when the younger brother went in to go to bed, which is the real shame of it here too. And the person of interest the whole time was the stepbrother, the 16-year-old stepbrother. DNA really didn't play into it because they were sharing a room. So the DNA, all the DNA would be there anyway. They do have the video camera, I guess, out in the hallway of the stepbrother going in and then leaving the room at some point. So the next morning they got up, Anna wasn't there. They found her under the bed. She was wrapped in a blanket and hidden under the bed. And then I guess they even went through life vests on her. Now, this took place allegedly, and they do believe that they were still in international waters when all this happened. So this makes it a federal case. Now, the suspect, the stepbrother, has been indicted. He was actually indicted back in February, but he was initially indicted as a juvenile. And then yesterday, they switched it over to he's indicted as an adult. So this is an underage person being tried as an adult in a federal case. This is extremely rare. As far as charges go, hi Heather, how are you? Guys, feel free to come on in. You're all welcome to insert your input here. As far as the charges, he is indicted on, I want to get the exact charges. On April 13th, 2026, a federal grand jury indicted 16-year-old stepbrother Timothy Hudson, referred to in earlier documents as TH. Now, remember, he was being charged as a minor at that point, as an adult on charges of first-degree unaliving and, guys, be warned, aggravated S abuse. Okay, that's why I put that warning up, because this, it's a very disturbing case with this stepbrother. From what I could tell, now I just started looking into this yesterday. From what I could tell, there weren't the stepbrother. Hi, Wyatt. How are you? The stepbrother didn't have a lot of mental issues. However, the mother of the stepchild, or the mother of him, did say he had ADHD and he had missed his night and insomnia and had missed his nighttime medication for 2 consecutive nights prior to this going on. Now, here's the thing, guys. Timothy Hudson, he's 16 years old. Again, it's very rare that a minor is being charged in a federal case, but allegedly the entire event took place in international waters, so it can't really go to a state case. He is being tried as an adult, but he's out of jail on an ankle bracelet, living with an uncle. He's not being detained in a jail cell. The only thing I can think of is because of his age, they really can't put him in a federal prison to hold him. And because he's being tried as an adult, they can't put him in a juvenile place. However, I'm reading that both the stepfather, obviously the father of Anna, and even Timothy's own mother can't understand why he's not being held in jail. But I guess for safety concerns, that would be why they're letting him live with a relative. I was also told it's possibly because he doesn't have any prior history or criminal history or any prior history of violence. It was also a family matter. That might be why he's being allowed to be held with, stay with a relative. I do believe, though, there's really no place to put him. I don't believe the federal system has a juvenile facility, and even so, you can't put him in a juvenile facility if he's being held or charged as an adult. Now let me show you here. This is Anna. This is Anna Kepner, 18 years old. Getting ready. She was, gonna get ready to go off to college, and even so, the stepbrother, he's just a tiny thing. I don't see him. He's 16 years old, but look, I could boot the kid's butt. Could you imagine putting a child that young in a federal prison? Because he is underage, they can't sentence the death penalty. I looked up if they could charge him to life in prison. In the perfect state, the perfect crime, states will never, It depends on the state. States most likely don't do a life in prison sentence on minors. It falls under the death penalty type of cruel and unusual type of thing. However, I guess in certain states you can, depending on their rules. But typically, no. And the Supreme Court would kick that out. So he would most likely get like a 30 to year, 30 to life, meaning he wouldn't be eligible for parole until 30 years or something like that. But they would have to offer him parole eligibility in most states. Most obviously, this isn't state, this is federal, but you know where I'm going with this. So what do you guys think? Tell me what you guys think. The photo I saw of them, he looks really tall. He's tall, but he's really, really skinny. Oh, they can sentence him as an adult, Wyatt, but because he's underage, they can't put the death penalty on the table. Like he would have to get like 30 to life or 50 to life. They can't give him the death penalty. They can sentence him as an adult, yes, but they just can't do the death penalty. He's pretty tall, Heather, but look how, like, I don't know, he's very tiny, like scrawny. So I don't know. Tell me, what do you guys think? What do you think about him not being held in a jail? I mean, even his own mother can't understand why they're not holding him in jail. And obviously the father and his father can't understand it. But let's look a little more into this case. Let me do this. I did hear the father and stepmother were not happy with him being out. No. And the stepmother is actually the mother of the boy that unalived her. And even she's not happy he's out. He's definitely a rare case. I mean, not too many juveniles are charged with federal cases, but again, the act allegedly took place while they were still out in international waters. The boat ended up docking in Miami, which I believe is where it was supposed to dock to begin with. Guys, do me a favor, hit the like button. And I did post that I was live. So if he is found guilty, lock him up for as long as possible. I listened to the actual reading of the injuries. They went into detail. Yes. And she was essayed as well, which was very brutal from what I understand. Let me pull this up here. So initially Hudson was charged as a juvenile in February. However, at the request of the government, the federal judge ordered that he be prosecuted as an adult. So this is the judge asking him to be prosecuted as an adult. The unsealed indictment alleges Hudson essayed and intentionally unalived Kepner. If convicted, Hudson faces a maximum penalty of life in prison. Hudson has pled not guilty. His mother previously testified that he suffered from ADHD and insomnia and had missed his medication for 2 nights prior to the incident. About Anna, 18-year-old high school senior and cheerleader from Titusville, Florida. She was a student at Temple Christian School and had plans to join the U.S. Navy. Okay, I thought she was going to college. She planned to join the Navy to become a canine officer after her graduation in May of 2026. Family and friends remember her as bubbly, kind-hearted person who loved horseback riding and caring for her siblings. Well, isn't that ironic? November 2nd, Anna departs Miami on a 6-night cruise aboard the Carnival Horizon with her father, stepmother, and siblings. Anna is last seen alive after leaving family dinner early because her braces were bothering her. Later that night, she visited her grandmother at the ship's casino. November 7th, Anna is declared dead at 11:17 a.m. Her body is discovered by a housekeeper wrapped in a blanket and hidden under the bed in the cabin she shared with her stepbrother, Timothy Hudson. The ship returns to November 8th. The ship returns to Port Miami. FBI agents board the vessel to begin homicide investigation. November 17th, in a separate custody battle, court documents reveal for the first time that a minor child, Timothy Hudson, is suspect in the FBI's criminal investigation. February to March of 2026. February 2nd, Timothy Hudson is formally charged as a juvenile with murder and abuse in federal court. February 3rd, Hudson turns himself into authorities in Miami and pleads not guilty. February 6th, a judge releases Hudson to the custody of an uncle with a GPS tracker while he awaits trial. February 24th, federal prosecutors request that Hudson's case be transferred to adult court. The defense does not object. March 10th, a federal grand jury issues a superseding indictment for first-degree M and aggravated S abuse, which remains sealed. Now, mind you, it was sealed at that time because he was still technically being charged as a minor. April 2026, the entire court file is unsealed, and a judge orders Hudson to be prosecuted as an adult. April 13th, the U.S. Department of Justice publicly announces the charges of first-degree murder and aggravated S abuse against Hudson. April 14th, prosecutors file a motion to revoke Hudson's release, arguing that he should be taken into custody now that he is being tried as an adult. But here's the thing, he's a kid. You can't put him in a federal prison. First-degree murder, alleging the intentional and premeditated killing of Anna Kepner while in international waters. Aggravated S abuse, alleging a violent S assault preceded the homicide. Minimum penalty, if convicted on both charges, faces a maximum sentence of life in prison and a fine up to $250,000. Court documents allege Hudson unalived Kepner via mechanical asphyxiation, strangulation, or suffocation inside the cabin they shared on the Carnival Horizon. Forensic evidence. Prosecutors state that the shipboard security footage showed no other individuals entering or exiting the room during the time of death, and that DNA evidence allegedly links Hudson to the assault. Current legal status, adult prosecution. Custody dispute. As of April 14th, federal prosecutors have filed a motion to revoke his release, arguing, so that was just today, arguing he is a danger to the public and should be held in a federal facility. Now he is no longer being tried under juvenile law. Hudson has pleaded not guilty to all charges. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Like, this is pretty. Oh, they went into full detail of those also. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to keep it somewhat YouTube friendly. um, but I don't know, guys. I mean, what do you guys think? Like, what's your opinion on a minor being tried as an adult on a federal case? I don't know, guys. Go round up your friends, get them in the chat room. Come on. See, I'd like to have discussions on this channel. That's what I want to do on this channel. If anybody wants to come up, maybe I'll drop the link. Maybe somebody wants to come up. I doubt it, but who knows? Apparently, my show is poison. I don't know. How to kill a channel. Really? Nobody else wants to talk about this? All right, well, I thought a lot of my friends liked the true crime stuff. At least watch. Let me see. What's this over here? Wyatt, you don't want to come up? Heather, you don't want to come up? He could actually be held in state custody since a juvenile. It's rare, but it does happen. Right, but he's being tried as an adult, so they can't put him in a juvenile facility. I don't necessarily think a state prison would be any safer for a juvenile than a federal prison. Actually, I think a federal prison would be safer. I don't know, though. I don't know much about actual prisons. I've never been to one. I've never been in one. I don't know. I just think it's just definitely an odd case. Let's see what's in the news. There really isn't much more on that case. That I can tell you anyway. She was a cheerleader. They can be housed in juvenile detention or just separated from the adults, which happened also. It's very rare though, and I don't know. Hello, Kathy. How are you? We're talking about the Anna Kepner case. The stepbrother, the 16-year-old stepbrother, is being charged as an adult. Um, it's a federal case, not state, because it happened out on the water. Um, just a rare occurrence that now, even though he's being tried as an adult, it's just rare that the feds would prosecute a minor, but it's usually a state crime. Kathy, my love, how have you been? I was actually wondering how you've been. I haven't seen you around. Are you okay? Is everything okay, sweetie? And give Carol my love as well. I need to pull your card soon, Kathy. I can feel it. Um, I don't know. There really haven't been too many cases though like this, Heather, where they separate. Um yeah, as could be things. Well, you know, I told you I think about you, Kathy. I think about you and Carol and my little group of friends here. The few friends that I have here. I do adore you all. Um but yeah, because of the case we're talking about, I added this to the show.
Please be advised the following content contains themes and subject matter that may be unsettling, intense, or unsuitable for some viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
I got to work on my death row shows. I got to get back to working on those, but I wanted to take a little break from the Guthrie case. There's really nothing new going on with the Guthrie case, and this popped up again. This keeps popping up. This case, yeah, I was surprised he's charged as an adult. Um, I'm not. I'm only surprised they're charging him as an adult because it's a federal case. Feds usually don't handle minors, even if they're being charged as an adult. And murder is usually a state case, but this happened on a cruise out in international waters. So the feds have to take jurisdiction. There's no state to attach it to. Um, but oh, Kathy, when you get a chance, go look at my posts. I found a jar of Ux. Of course, I edited the picture a little bit, but I actually do have a real jar of Ux to give. Figured you'd get a little bit of humor out of that. um, yeah, I got to keep it YouTube friendly now. Now I lost my monetization. Speaking of which, guys, if you'd like to donate, feel free. If not, no pressure. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. If you don't want to donate, there's other ways to help the channel. Share the channel. Tell your friends about the TreeHouse. Bring them along. There's always room in the TreeHouse for more. Always room for more. Kathy has none to give. That's because I have them all in a jar, Kathy. I have them all in a jar. And I'm very picky on who I give them out to. I've had this jar for 2 years. And no, 3 years, maybe 2 or 3 years. And I've maybe only given out 3 or 4 of them. I would keep it at work, but I'm afraid one of my floaters would steal the whole jar on me. That's 4 too many. Well, I have I don't know. I think I have a ton of them left. But you know what I do? I take them out of the bottle and I throw them at people. Only 3 or 4. Yep, only 3 or 4. I've only given out 3 or 4. But, I throw them at people so I can tell people I gave them a flying uck. Right? See how that works? I like how that works. So I don't know, Heather, Kathy, any other new cases in the atmosphere you want to talk about, or what's going on here? Flying uck. That's right, a flying uck. Like I give a flying uck. Right? Actually, I might take it to work on Thursday and throw one of them at my coworkers. At my coworker. She'll get a kick out of it. Yeah, they gave me double coverage tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, Thursday. I'm off tomorrow. Nah, I have been turning off the news. It's depressing. It is depressing, isn't it? I only came across this because there isn't much more with Nancy Guthrie that anybody can do. I mean, I'd rather come on here and chit chat with you guys, but nobody ever comes around anymore. So I'll just keep doing my criminal shows. I'll keep doing my criminal shows and throwing flying ucks at people. Like, wee. Unfortunately, I don't think she will be found at this point. I don't know if she'll be found. I think she's somewhere close. I definitely think it was an inside job. Now, the people that took her, do I think they were insiders? No, I think they could have been hired or put up to it. I hope at some point we at least find out what happened to her, even if they don't physically find her. I would hope that something would come through. I don't know. I really don't know at this point. I don't know. Baby Jessica was arrested for domestic? You mean baby Jessica from the well? Now they're spewing nonsense about Savannah's ex-husband. I don't think it's the ex-husband. I'll be honest with you. Everybody's looking at the brother-in-law. I'll be honest with you. I think the brother might have something to do with it. Just my opinion. Just saying. Jessica McClure Morales arrested after alleged domestic disturbance. Oh. Well, what did she do? The 40-year-old, known by many as Baby Jessica, who was saved from a deep well after 58 hours at 18 months in 1987, was arrested Saturday following a reported domestic disturbance at her Midland County, Texas home. Morales was reportedly taken into custody at the scene and charged with assault causing bodily injury involving family violence. She was later released from the Midland County Detention Center after posting bond. Morales was reportedly the limited information about the incident is available at this time, with Midland County taking up to 10 days to release an arrest affidavit. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. So we might not know for a few days, though. I remember Baby Jessica, too. Gosh, I was about 12 when that happened. My sister, the reason, well, I mean, it obviously was a big, huge news story, but my sister was about the same age as her at the time. So, I'm surprised my mom didn't make us put her on a leash after that. She's definitely not the little adorable toddler. I mean, she's not ugly, but you hear Baby Jessica, you think little tiny baby Jessica. I guess in our minds, these children, when those stories happen, in a way, I guess it happened the way it was supposed to. She said in 2017, I was picked on because, okay, when she was just 18 months old, Morales fell 22 feet down a well in her aunt's backyard in Midland, Texas. Nearly 60 hours after she fell in, Morales was pulled out and safely rescued. The story was covered across the country both during and after the rescue and led to the 1989 television movie adaptation, Everybody's Baby, The Rescue of Jessica McClure. Speaking with people nearly 30 years after being rescued, she reflected on the ordeal and told people that her life is a miracle. In a way, I guess it happened the way it was supposed to, she said in 2017. I was picked on because of it, but most people are kind and think of what happened is an amazing miracle. It is. I don't believe that any of it would have happened without God. In the years after her rescue, Morales remained in Texas, living a quiet life with her husband, Danny, whom she met through his sister in 2005 and married the following year. In March 2017, Morales shared with people that she instantly fell in love with him the day they met. The couple shares 2 children, Simon and Cheyenne. Both of her children have welcomed sons Emilio, Nana, and Nolan. Okay, so she's actually a grandmother now? What the heck is it? She's 40 freaking years old, and she's a grandmother. I'm 50, and I still have no grandchildren. Like, what the heck? Yeah, Kathy, I don't know. I don't know if they'll find Nancy. I hope they do. I really hope they do. Um, but at this point, they're kicking out all the YouTubers out of the area. Like they're not even allowed on the street. Um, which I get it. You know, the people in the neighborhood want their privacy back. That's a fairly secluded area, and people move to those neighborhoods for privacy, and they don't want to deal with people up and down the street all night and whatnot. And I get that, but um, also, I started following that case in the Bahamas. I should say following more closely. Which case in the Bahamas, Heather? Oh, Kathy, the other day I was in a foul mood. I wanted to ask you if I could borrow your toaster. I was just having one of those days with people. The American woman that fell off the dinghy. Oh, I did hear about that. I did hear about that. The husband was arrested, right? Like 3 days ago. They don't know if she fell or she was pushed. But what were they doing on an 8 foot? Were they in the ocean? What do you, I mean, a dinghy is usually like a rescue boat. Like, you don't take an 8 foot dinghy out into the ocean to start cruising around. Heather, I didn't hear about that one. Oh, he's been released. One of the cars has been, that's interesting. I might have to start looking into that. I mean, dinghies are usually like rescue boats, or if you need to go ship to shore. Hi, Twisted Tea. How are you? You don't cruise around the ocean in a dinghy. You know what I mean? Like it's just ridiculous. I'm fairly familiar with boating. We my parents had boats all my life. I mean, at 16 years old, I was zipping around a little John boat around the Delaware River, and that was 6 foot. And that was a no, actually, was it 6 or 8 foot? Might have been 6 foot. No, it was 8 foot. It was an 8 foot outboard motor. And now my brother-in-law has two of the bigger like cruiser boats. He's got the B bottom and the flat bottom. And on an 8 foot boat, if somebody falls overboard, I mean, you kind of jump in after them, don't you? Like you're not that far away. It's not like you're at the other end of the yacht and you don't know they're missing for an hour before you get to the other end of the boat. Twisted Tea, what are your feelings about Timothy Hudson? What's going on with that? Like Natalie Wood, no one still can't say how exactly. They don't. And they weren't even on that big of a boat. The boat they were on was probably the size of my brother-in-law's. I think they had to let the guy go. They still need more to charge him. I think he will be rearrested unless the husband, yeah. What's his Brian? Is that his name? Brian Hooker? But what do you think about the Anna Kepner case, the stepbrother? He's been indicted, but they're leaving him with a family member and an ankle bracelet because he's a minor. And here's the thing, if somebody did fall overboard, even if they fell overboard and they drowned before you could save them, don't you at least put their body back on the boat and take them to shore? I mean, if you love them, you do. Heather, does she think the dad did it? I think yeah. They really think the daughter really thinks it. I think it's suspicious too. An 8-foot dinghy boat. Like, if you don't notice your spouse went over the side of an 8-foot dinghy boat, like I said, even if you jumped in after her and still couldn't save her, you would at least, you know. Oh, don't know a lot about it. I think they seem to have the evidence, but I haven't seen enough to say definitive opinion. Well, my thing is with that case, though, is the kid's 16. They're trying him as an adult. But it's a federal case because it happened in international water. But he's being charged as an adult. So they can't hold him in a juvenile facility. And he's way too young to put in a federal prison to hold him during trial. So he's basically living with a relative. Yeah, I do too. We wear vests. Not in a pool, but when we go out into the Delaware, we definitely wear vests. When we go out into the ocean, obviously, yeah, we wear vests. It's so funny because the Delaware, well, actually, someone a few months ago, I believe, I think it was back during the holiday, or maybe it was back in December or something like that. A guy was running from the police, jumps in the Delaware, and he ends up dying. The Delaware is very, very weird. You could go 3/4 of the way across it, and it's only up to your knees, and then all of a sudden there's a dip. And that current will take that undercurrent will suck you right under. But my sister and I were actually talking about it too. At least once a year, somebody dies in the Delaware, and it's usually somebody that grew up locally, like not like we grew up literally like a block off the river, a block or two off the river. And so we were always hanging out down at the river, partying, tubing, swimming. But it's always somebody that like lives like 15, 20 miles away that should know better. All right. Yeah, I'll have to look more into this Hooker case. Lynette Hooker was wearing the keys, also known as an engine safety lanyard, when she fell off the dinghy, which made the boat lose power. Hold on. She had them on her neck or something, and they snagged the engine. Like, what the heck? They are doing the Delaware River Gap Bridge over It was a bitch going to Carol's on Sunday. Yes. Yes. So do you go up 611 North? That's how we used to go up through the Gap. Now I grew up closer to the Philly, near the Delaware, but I know where the Gap is because we used to go up to. My brother went to school in New York, and my dad always used to love to take the long way up, and he would go up through the Delaware Water Gap. You can go up through, like, was it Dingman's Ferry and all that? Kresgeville is up that way too. I think we used to go through something like that. Yeah, I'm quite familiar with 611. That's my stomping grounds, Kathy. Route 611. From Philly to the Poconos. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm not too far from 611. I'm just a few miles from it, actually. I bet it would. But you know what? They're doing so much road work in Pennsylvania everywhere, Kathy. And if they're not doing road work, they're shutting down the roads because they're doing new buildings. So they have to shut down lanes in roads so they can build new buildings. So yeah, good old Pennsylvania. But anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I might be around tomorrow afternoon. It depends. If not, maybe tomorrow evening at my normal time, 7ish. You noticed what? What did you notice? What, the road work in Pennsylvania? Oh my God. Oh, you should try driving through Bethlehem. It's crazy. Crazy. And 611's always a mess. Always. Yeah, well, you know those road cones, Kathy? They're also known as the PennDOT State Flower. For those of you that don't know, PennDOT is Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, and the PennDOT State Flower is also known as the road cone. But anyway, guys, I will see you guys at some point tomorrow. Oh, okay, Twisted Tea. Thank you so much. I will see you guys all at some point tomorrow. If not in my chat room, I'll definitely see most of you over at Angels. Guys, I love you all. Try to be kind, and I'll see you all in the next chat room. Bye, guys.